Is Optimus Tom. Joining me in the commentary booth or commentary chairs in our respective houses is going to be EGAD as we take to the Rift in game number 1 of the NACL today. It's going to be Cognitive Gaming over here on the blue side of the screen, and then flipping on over to the red side. It's going to be Velocity Esports subbing in as a cast of their former selves, and we're waiting for Dan to load into the game. Just a second here, guys, because there's a bit of a technical malfunction with his League of Legends client, so you're going to have to wind up listening to me ramble on for a little bit by myself here. But we are going to see Velocity. They're stacking up in the top side of the map. There's an anti-stun charged on Evaniskus, and it looks like they are going to wind up seeing Cognitive coming around, but Cognitive's going to spot all 5 members of Velocity on this side. They're going to want to back away from that one because they definitely don't want to walk headfirst into a level 1 fight with an AoE anti-stun all charged up on their side. So it looks like it's going to be pretty much free reign of vision for the side of Velocity. Cognitive put down some wards of their own just to make sure they know it's up, and we're going to see Velocity backing off away from that one. They're going to take the top side of the map and take a little bit of a Grand Toa de Summoner's Rift as they go all the way through their side of the jungle to make sure that Cognitive doesn't try to get any sneaky vision on themselves. But it does wind up looking like Cognitive are going to respawn by placing some vision ward down by the blue buff side of Velocity's area of the map, just to keep tabs on where NK Inc's going to be starting the jungle route, since they already have tabs for Velocity's side to see where Ziploc's going to be. Pings are going down from both sides, but it looks like Velocity's really not going to respond with this one. They do have Annie kind of making her way towards the bottom side of the map, but Jinx is still up in that top lane area, as is Lucian, so we're probably going to see a lane swap kind of situation going on here, where both dual lanes wind up going up against each other. However, it's going to be on the opposite side of the map, and they're going to be up over in the top lane area going head-to-head against one another. We are going to see blue steals also mirrored on either side. Ziploc and iDream going to wind up taking the blue buff to the side of Velocity. Or on the flip side, we have NK Inc and Impactful starting off, harassing and stealing away the blue buff from their opponent's side. But this, however, has given nothinghere a little bit of an experience advantage. Not all too much of a CS advantage. We see it's about 2-2 because Impactful wound up picking up those small lizards for himself. But Thresh is far away, so Evaniskus is going to be right here with a stun, and already NK Inc is coming for a gang. He has the EQ combo and nothinghere. He's got nowhere to go. Just a couple hits from Impactful. He's walking towards the enemy tower. This is going to be first blood. A flash forward from Evaniskus actually to secure the stun, and it's going to be NK Inc that picks up first blood on Summoner's Rift.
From what I saw, that was a really impressive play from NK Inc there, coming around after the blue buff and just going in, and nothinghere overextending without a support there. Kind of bit him in the butt just a little bit, and they did get first blood to NK Inc, like you said before, and a jungler with first blood is always something you do not want to see, especially NK Inc.
Nah, it's definitely something you don't want to see. NK Inc has been an impact player for Velocity pretty much, well, ever since they were in the LCS, and it's continued here in the NACL. That's why we see him targeted banned so much in the pick and ban phase, and with that first blood on a jungler like Jarvan, it's going to be a very impactful way to go on the map.
Yeah, very, very impactful for him, and still, my client's not letting me load in here. I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes, and if anything, swap out.
Alright, no problem then, no problem. We'll take over to Summoner's Rift, where we see the dual lane has got back to the top, but Zaineking is still only level 1 by comparison to the rest of the members in the lane that are just hitting level 2 and 3 right now. Impactful has a large experience advantage due to that NK Inc gang, and he's going to be harassing down upon the dual lane in top. But in the bottom lane, there's a double buff now. That red buff is very fresh for NK Inc. He's coming down to iDream. The slice and dice went off, but he gets the flag and drag. Cris is going to try to catch up to him right here. There is a flash available for iDream, but a flash forward from Cris with the bola strike is going to force the enemy flash away, and that's going to be a pretty successful gank there as they trade flash for flash, and they force iDream away from that bottom solo lane. Cris has been harassed a lot by that Renekton early on here. He had 15 CS compared to just the 7 that Chris's Rengar got, although he did wind up having a slight item advantage, having a cloth armor and a Doran shield. Well, actually just the Doran shield and a couple of health potions actually, because they wound up going back after they wound up taking that blue buff steal away from the side of Velocity. So now that Cris has got a little bit of breathing room, we'll see the CS start to even up just a little bit on the bottom side of the map. And surprisingly on the top side, nothinghere. He's slightly behind Impactful, but he's actually had a chance to catch up in not only experience, but only 4 CS disadvantage. Now Ziploc's going to come in from the back here. Impactful and Evaniskus, they're not going to be happy about this one. Exhaust goes down. Ziploc picks up a kill for himself, and he says, hey, your jungler picked up a kill on top lane. I'm going to get one for myself as well.
Yeah, picking up the kill on Annie was so good for him, and that roam around through the tri-brush was very smart. Avoided the vision of the ward that Evaniskus had placed down there. And another kill going to even up on the junglers, 1-1. The gold is still very close, only 200. It's not that much this early on, but Ziploc gonna clear out the wave and possibly dive at impact where they force the flash out. It's gonna be the piercing light, and I don't know if he picked the kill or not. I'm still looking onto the delay.
It's a 1-for-1 trade so far. NK Inc. has come in with a red buff on Nothing Here, but a red buff on Jarvan as well. Nothing Here is trying to kite this one out. Does get the quick dash away right there, and Zaineking's been willing away with a couple flay-empowered hits himself. NK Inc.'s not going to be able to turn that one around into an advantageous gank for the side of Velocity, but it is a 1-for-1 trade. Only problem is now Lucian has a red buff in that top lane, and Cris is ignited under his own tower. iDream tanking up a couple shots right there. Cris drops down into the red bars of HP, and he's going to be forced back away, even though it was just him and the jungler that shoved iDream back before. That's the power of an early game Renekton and how much of a lane bully he can really be against some of these matchups. Rengar's going to wind up going back and healing for himself, but he hasn't gone back and bought yet, whereas iDream, well, he's gone back and bought twice so far. Cris has about 900 gold in his bank account, so he's going to pick up some rejuvenation beads and a Dorian's Blade, trying to give himself a slight laning advantage on that side of the map, because it's been pretty much all about iDream right there. Mid lane we haven't really talked about all too much because there's not a lot going on. It's fairly even as far as CS goes, with Lissandra coming up from Zamphira, had a 1 CS lead. Big whoop about that. Just one whole creep was the kind of differential over there. But the junglers have been active so many other places on the map. Lissandra's actually going to be benefiting from this a little bit. Now, Orianna, of course, she doesn't have the most burst damage, especially until she gets some items going, but Lissandra's laning phase is a little bit of a hindrance to her. But if she gets out of that laning phase, we know how much of a beast she could be, not only moving around the map, but when it comes to team fights. If you're able to lock somebody up with their Frozen Tomb and just initiate a team fight that way, it's absolutely destructive. So both of these mid laners having a safe farming lane phase, not going to be a hindrance for either side of their teams. Looks like we are going to see motion towards the bottom side of the map. Ziploc's going to find Cris trying to place a ward. Winds up missing the Vault Breaker right there, and Cris is going to wind up throwing a bola down, backing away, keeping himself healthy for now. But that gives the question to Cognitive, where is NK Inc.? He's actually waiting up by the tower in top lane, potentially wanting to go for a lane gank, but there is a ward in that forward brush from Zaineking, so they're going to try to snip that one out, and it looks like NK Inc., realizing something's up, is just going to back away and continue to farm his own jungle. So the score is right now only 2-2, slight gold advantage going in this favor of Cognitive, mainly because of the CS advantage that they've been able to build up. Zamphira now in that mid lane, by forcing Orianna from Fragnatic back a little bit earlier, has gotten a bit of a CS advantage. Bottom lane, we've already seen iDream be a bully against Cris as he continues to put some harassment back down upon each other. And actually, Lucian in the top lane had a slight CS lead, but it's all evened up despite the early advantages that Impactful had in that early lane. Double Doran's going up against Vampiric Scepter, and Doran's Blade means he has a slight little bit of more HP for these trade situations. Plus, he had that red buff earlier on, which is going to help himself out. Cris and iDream continuing to trade blows in the bottom lane, but it looks like, at least for the time being, with the junglers on their respective sides of the map and in their own jungle, it's going to be a little bit of a peaceful lane phase for now. Looks like, unfortunately, Dan still's having a little bit of trouble getting into the game, but we're going to get Dan back in here in just a second, guys, so fret not. It's not just going to be me the entire night, because I don't know about you, but I think my throat would wind up dying. But
Okay, I'm good. I'm in.
All
Yeah.
right.
Sweet.
Look at that. All I had to say was just a couple seconds. You were going to be back, and you're just in time for a really sick 4-man gank in this top lane.
Yeah, here comes the dive. Not yet, just yet. There we go. There's the Assault and Battery. That's going to be a Frozen Tome. Impactful is going to get taken out here. And it's going to be a kill over to Zaineking. The Glacial Path comes out. Evaniskus gets hooked in a double kill. Or Thresh, as a tower in the top lane is going to go down in a very well-executed gank from Cognitive. Gets up a turret and 2 kills. Well, down bot, we do have NK Inc. coming in. Ignite gets thrown out the bolo. The leaps from Rengar coming in. Cris just repetitively jumping on this Crocodile. There's a flag and Dragon doesn't connect, but the jump out of the brush gets Cris close to it. Is the bola going to connect? There's the bola. There's the Ignite. There's 2 tower shots. A flash away from Cris keeps him safe. NK Inc. takes the last 2, and that is going to be a 2-for-1 overall, as well as a turret in the top lane over to Cognitive in their favor. Ooh, Shockwave actually just missed.
Flash away there from Zamphira as he saved that one, and like you said, Dan, it was a well-orchestrated gank on both sides of the map, but Cognitive come out slightly ahead, even though the 2 kills wound up going to their support, assist all across the map, as well as that tower has gone down, so now it's all on them. They can go wherever they want. They're going to be rotating that bottom lane over there to try to put pressure on another outer tower and try to establish some dragon control as well. And well, we talked about it in Champion Select already, the power of Zamphira's Lissandra and how he can roam around with her, and it came to fruition in that top lane gank.
Yeah, that was a really well done gang. We see Ziploc taking up the red here. The Dragon is still warded from the side of Cognitive. They have the rotation of the AD carry and support going down there, so we could see a play for them as they would be a 4v3. We see Fragnatic and Zamphira, both with their blue buffs respectively, just shoving out those waves and farming up. But they're actually dead even on farm, actually just one ahead for Fragnatic, just that tiny bit. But also in that 1v1 for iDream and Cris, he's got a pretty big lead down there. But the Dragon now being initiated here by Cognitive, NK Inc. is going to go check it. Smite was used early, but Ziploc picks it up with the auto attack. Descendants connects. NK Inc. is going to be that target. Vault Breaker knocks him off. Flay to knock him back. Flag and Dragon all the way at a nice awkward angle to get out of there. But Rengar ultimate coming in. Cris, nothinghere actually flashed into him, not knowing it. Exhaust gets dropped out immediately. The box is there. The command protect, and there is the death rocket coming in from Jinx to add a little bit of damage. The lantern to just give some sight and try to pull someone out, but they were all safe. And actually, no one died, surprisingly enough, from that whole fight.
And one of the reasons why Cognitive was able to take that Dragon pretty much for free was the fact that both NK Inc. and Cris got so low killing iDream, they were forced back. So they knew Rengar was missing from the area, and when they saw NK Inc., they should have thought that Rengar was going to be nearby. So it was actually a pretty good turnaround. First, it was a really good escape from NK Inc., surviving with the flag and drag, and then a pretty good turnaround from Velocity there as really, Cognitive should have picked up that kill after the Dragon, but the survivability coming out from Velocity, I guess it's just instincts from Cris and Rengar.
Yeah, that ultimate in, and then he got exhausted immediately, so he couldn't follow up even with the attack speed that was granted to him from the Q, the double Q actually that he had prepped there when he went in, and I'm so surprised no one died. They had the Jinx rocket that connected onto two people, and just people running out back and forth. And now we're actually seeing a rotation from Velocity, who send their AD carry and support down bot now. But Dragon is currently gone. There's a pink ward that cleared it out for Evaniskus, so they know that. But the gold lead is still in the favor with the flash Descendants coming out for Cognitive, and a flash forced out from Impactful as the low mobility Jinx kind of getting forced out there.
He just forced the flash from Jinx and from Annie, so both of those flashes are down, and we see Ziploc going in mid.
Facial back comes in. There's going to be a flag drag knocking Zamphira up through that one, but Fragnatic going to be targeted up by the tomb, and iDream with the stun going to get the kill for Zamphira, and a nice coordinated gank by Cognitive. Once again, that roam is fantastic.
Yeah, Fragnatic was a little bit far to the river. If you take a look at the map, Velocity has a lot of river vision, and that's why they saw Ziploc and Zamphira moving down towards that bottom lane, and both those slashes were burned. So rotating back into the mid lane, Fragnatic saw them coming. It just, maybe he thought that Cris and NK Inc. had his back a little bit more, but Cris really wasn't in the area, and NK Inc., I mean, he can help himself survive very well, but there was nothing else he could do for his mid laner.
Look at Ziploc right now, just no fear going behind the turret. They knew the turret was going down. That puts it to 2-0 in favor of Cognitive right now. If he had that ultimate, I'm pretty sure he would have just dove onto them, especially knowing that their flashes were down. But now we're just going back to mid lane. Zamphira has a needlessly large rod, so just foregoing like Athene's Unholy Grail or anything like that, and just going straight towards that Zoni's Hourglass.
And that means that he's going to be going for these group ups that we've seen coming out from the side of Cognitive. He's been roaming around with the jungler. He's been outside of his lane. He's going for something that's going to be impactful in team fights or in multiple champion engagements, rather than just going for something that will extend the laning phase or keep himself kind of just sustained in a 1v1 kind of matchup. So the mobility we've already seen from Cognitive, it's not going to let up anytime soon. There is one outer tower left on the map, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be where they set their sights next.
Yeah, and up top though, Cris going to be forced to pop the ultimate. The Vault Breaker is not going to connect there. Cris just jukes away from that one using the stealth. He's going to focus his way out, and he'll be fine. Pink ward battle still raging on towards that Dragon Pit. Evaniskus dropping those, and we do see the AD carries both building towards that Bloodthirster route, as now red buff is going to be initiated here, but Cognitive have a ward on it, and the Smite Steal doesn't come out, and Cris gets it with the auto attack, and that's pretty good for them.
Yeah, Ziploc ends up using the Smite right there, and it gives the buff over to Cris. I thought at first NK Inc. did that, and I was like, wow, that's really good synergy. And then I realized that NK Inc. Smite was down, so a little bit early on the Smite there from Ziploc doesn't steal the buff away, but hey, it's just a red buff, and with all the forward pressure on the map, look at that. They're just going for that last outer tower.
Yeah, Flag and Drag comes in. No one's going to extend too far for that one. Everyone's going to back off from the side of Cognitive, and some nice rotation from both sides. But Cognitive still coming out in the map pressure effect from this. He's just getting the tier 1 top and bot with leaving iDream to split push. Zamphira is going to pick up a blue buff here, head back to mid, and just stop them from pushing down there, while Zaineking helps out the mid laner with Lucian split pushing down bot.
And right now, Cognitive can kind of take this one a little bit slow. They have an established lead already. It's about 4,000 gold, and it's sub 15 minutes into the game. But the Dragon timer is going to be up in about a minute and a half. So clearing out pink wards, putting vision, and continuing to control the enemy side of the jungle. And then if they go for a Dragon and Velocity try to fight them where they don't have vision, they already have Zamphira, like you said, going for something along the lines of, it's either going to be a Deathfire Grass, so you can nuke somebody down, or a Zanya, so they can just isolate them from a fight. This tower is also another power play right here. They could take this down, they could clear the vision, and then the Dragon's going to be up in just a minute.
And now we see them rotating towards it. They're going to look to get the control, drop some deep wards. They see that the blue buff is not there. Pink ward comes out. They're going to clear that one. Velocity going back to base. Maybe going to try to rush towards that dragon afterwards. Chris's ultimate is almost up, so they could use that to their effect for fighting. But some good deep pink wards would end up spotting him out, and they ping those so that Cris knows he doesn't run through them. And we're going to see where the next little skirmish happens is all three outers are now gone from the side of Velocity.
Yeah, Velocity are losing out on the map pressure in this early game by a large margin, and Evaniskus is doing all he can to try to keep vision around the primary areas of the map. He's warding up by his buffs, he's warding up by the dragon, he's making sure that the enemy doesn't get any vision in their jungle, because if the enemy is going to be roaming around the jungle with the lights out, it's a very scary proposition. That's something that Velocity wants to be doing with that Jarvan and the Rengar combination. They want to be the ones jumping out from the dark spaces onto Cognitive and trying to catch them in a surprise tactic. Dragon up in about 8 minutes though. Look at the vision that Velocity has been able to establish over here. So if there's an engagement they can take, they're going to go for it because they see everything Cognitive's doing.
Yeah, and Flash Tibbers out of Zamphira right now. He's going to get ignited. Tibbers is going to beat into him. There's Cris coming in with the ultimate shockwave. The Lantern actually saving that one. The Death Rocket actually just barely missed. Death sent us to turn around to the Cris. The Tomb comes out. He's going to get blown up. Zaineking pick up his third kill of the game. iDream in the back line, though, taking that prom date Annie out on a date of death. As he does just killer flash up the wall from nothing here. Gonna help Zamphira pick up the kill on NK Inc, and that's gonna be a 3 for none. And Dragon is up, and I think they're gonna rotate towards it. I'll Ziploc the bloodthirsty jungle that he is going after Fragnatic red buff. Oh, but Fragnatic actually with the blue buff gonna turn it around, protect himself, and it's gonna be a tier 2 going down in the mid lane most likely.
Well, that was what we just mentioned. Velocity have vision. If they see an engagement they can take, they're going to go for it. The Flash Timber Stun comes out about a second and a half ahead of Cris in the command shockwave. If Cris had maybe a ghost, or if Cris is just a little bit closer, that would have been a really good engagement for Velocity, but a well-timed Thresh Lantern and a very nice flash away from nothing here were able to save them from a second Orianna command shockwave, and while the fight just kind of fell apart from there because Cognitive are a stronger team 5v5 straight up than Velocity.
Yeah, that DFG actually, I thought it was going to be a Zonia, so that DFG is going to help him burst out people very instantaneously, as Zamphira actually is looking for it. He's going to ping, he sees 3, but he decides to back off. Cris is going to solo out some golems up top, and potentially the first turret for the side of Velocity is going to be in this mid lane, as it's going to be impactful with the help of Fragnatic taking that one down. So they finally get their first turret, and got to look for some momentum after that one.
Well, they finally get their first turret at the cost of, well, what, 3 of them? A dragon and a tier 2 mid tower. So Velocity, I mean, it's a positive thing that they wound up taking a tower on the outer side of the map, and it's a good thing that they took the mid lane tower, because that means that they are going to be able to potentially get some more vision, at least keep Cognitive from putting as many wards down on their side of the jungle as possible. The thing is right now, Cris has gone full split push. Like, he's going for the Tiamat, going for a Ravenous Hydra, but at the same time, iDream says, I'm so far ahead of you and my team is far ahead of you enough that I can go for the same build and I can continue bullying you just like the lane phase. So Cris and iDream, they're going to be on that little island up by themselves, and as soon as Cris is missing, iDream knows it's his turn to rotate with his team as well.
Well, speaking of rotating, it's going to be Cris going on to iDream. He's chasing him down. Red Pod is activated. Ziploc coming over the wall. Actually, nope. They see and they ping out the 4 other members of Velocity and do not want to fight that. Some nice deep wards coming in from Zaineking and using that 303 that he has for Oracle's wards and pink wards galore with that sight zone, as he's going to clear out that red side and deny our red buff away from Velocity unless they want to be sneaky and try to steal it. Nope, it's going to be a smite from Ziploc. And nothing here. Still doing that split push Lucian and just pushing down the spot lane and harassing NK Inc out.
Yeah, NK Inc, despite the early kills that he wound up getting on Jarvan, he's still a tank for the team. As we see Cris going, we already talked about Chris's damage he kind of built with the Tiamat and Hydra, but now Jarvan's the tank and he's going up against the Lucian, who he only has 1 kill, but he's got 5 assists and a decent amount of CS at this point in the game. So Lucian's going to be, we talked about him being a lane bully in the duo lane matchup, so imagine how he does against a tank.
Oh, there's a nice Cataclysm on 2 members right now. Cris sees the other one's E-backs right on out. There's no Assault and Battery. Cataclysm's going to be down as well as the box. There's going to be a Dissonance to speed up NK Inc. Can he get a Flag and Drag? It's going to be on the 2 members. The Culling in the back wave as a Shockwave comes out of the 2. Timbers picks up 1. The Frozen Tomb comes out onto Zamphira himself. He DFGs and turns it around, takes out Annie as it's going to be Orianna picking up a kill on Vi. The Cork connects. He's going to snowball impactful towards him. Dissonance with that passive movement speed. There's going to be 1 crit. The command attack for a little bit of vision. There's iDream in the back line though. There's a piercing line up to 3 members. Can iDream clean this one up? That's 1. It's Cris with Impactful trying to take down iDream in the 2v1 situation. Can Renekton do? There's no wards to spot him down. Cris drops the ultimate to give a little bit of vision. He's got the full rage stacks. Can he turn this one around? It's a lot of damage. Velocity. Can they turn it? They do! Impactful with the last crit. And Fishbones to pick up that one with the help of Cris on that Rengar. Just make it into a 5 for 3.
That was a really good turnaround by Velocity. Because they were keeping up with vision on their own side of the map, that's what they wanted to do at Dragon last time. They see people they can catch out. There's the Cataclysm and the Flag and Drag coming out from NK Inc. The Jinx Rocket winds up getting down the duo lane from the side of Cognitive decently low enough so that in the fight they can't make as much of an impact as they would have wanted to. Ziploc winds up getting kind of tagged out by Cris, and a good command shockwave finally lands from Fragnatic in that fight, locking up multiple members and forcing Zamphira to keep himself alive through it with the Frozen Tomb, rather than using it to lock up a target from Velocity and stop that XX DPS. Now he kills Annie in that fight, but there's a Jinx, there's a Cris who's on Rengar, and there's an Orianna that are still dealing ridiculous amounts of damage in that fight, and it couldn't have gotten better for Velocity, actually.
It couldn't have gotten any better. That's what they need to come back into this one, especially being down so much and those extra kills going on to Impactful, and now he has the static shiv with the BT, as well as, I'm surprised we're not seeing a Trinity Force on Nothing Here. He went for the static shiv Bloodthirster, as that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of a different build than what we've seen some of the standard Lucians like
Oh,
Super play.
Cris.
But uh-oh, Cris!
There's going to be a Vault Breaker. There's going to be a 2-man stun from Annie. There is Timbers being dropped out there. The Assault and Battery coming in as well as the Mega Death Rocket onto Ziploc, but he just tanks it to the face. Doesn't do too much damage to him. He's fairly tanky at this point. Those Tabby helping out with the armor, but a tier 1 down in bot is going to go down, and now the push is going to commence from Velocity.
Velocity slowly crawling their way back into this one. They want a fight that they need, and now the double buffs are on the other 80 carries, and Impactful is able to move around the map. Oh, we see Cris with the ultimate.
He's going to throw the bola, root him for a little bit, flash and incinerate from Evaniskus, Flag and Drag to knock up Ziploc, and that's Cris picking up the kill. A really well-timed ultimate to come in to stop that back from Ziploc and pick him off, as now the push is going to commence in the bot lane once again. All 5 members of Velocity are down there.
Well, we had iDream. He's still continuing to be in a solo lane, farming and split pushing away. But Cris, like we said, he rotated and he's grouped up with his team, so he's able to make an impact when they have so many stuns, when they have so many ways to catch people out. Rengar can chase after someone, give them vision, lock them down long enough for an anti-flash stun like we just saw, for a Flag and Drag. And with them waiting in this brush area and oracles on Evaniskus, their catch potential is huge. And Cognitive, right now, they haven't respected it. They realized that they were ahead so far, and now they kind of forgotten what Velocity's comp can do, and they got to be a little bit wary. They're still in the lead right now, but they're in very close danger. One more fight could give it up.
So you're telling me that Chris's ultimate is pretty impactful?
I would say Chris's ultimate is very impactful.
Alright, so the impactful lineup coming in from Velocity here. There's an Oracle's there. They're trying to bait something out in this Tri-Brush, as Zaineking is going to be the target. They missed the Cork, they missed the Flag and Drag. They're going to turn this one around now. Who are they going to go for? Nothing Here as their target, but iDream turns on the ultimate. Going to look to pop that Dominus and go in. The Destinus doesn't connect. NK Inc. is going to flash away. Zamphira being chased out here. He tombs himself to the stun. The Culling in the back, though. NK Inc. is very low after that. The Glacial Shard hits, and it's going to be 3 flashes forced out, but a Timbers on a 2-man stun, and Cris, Assault and Battery, iDream picks up that kill. Zamphira gets hit by a command attack, and he is forced to stop chasing. He's getting fairly low here. Zaineking waiting for another death sentence. Can he hit it? He does! Blinded to the Tri-Brushes. iDream picks up 1. Fragnatic goes down, and that is going to be a push onto a tier 2 and a 3 for none in favor of Cognitive now.
Velocity has a little bit of tunnel vision right there. They realize that they want to catch somebody out, and when they miss Zaineking by a hair, rather than just backing up and away from that one, they realize that Ziploc is impactful with the rocket right there.
Alright, rocket to the dome to take out the Ice Lady. And now, Dragon.
It's a 1-for-1 technically, or it's like a 1-for-2 technically after that Super Mega Death Rocket picks up a kill, but they trade a tower, and Cognitive, they were split at that point. So Velocity are saying their tank is gone, they're split up, let's go for the next target. But unfortunately, the next target is iDream, who he had pieces for Sunfire Kate that fight, and he had the Dominus available. So despite him not building full tank on Renekton and going for that Ravenous Hydra, he's still a very beefy character to have to deal with, so they weren't able to really chase him down and kill him effectively. And when they switched targets, they switched to Zamphira, who used that Frozen Tomb once again defensively and completely turns that fight around on Velocity's head. So just about enough time for Ziploc to come in, and then all of a sudden NK Inc. was so low from being in the front lines, it was basically a 4v5.
Yeah, that whole fight was all over the place. We're see Cris pick up a red buff right now. He's got that TM out. He's going towards the Spirit Visage, it looks like, as he may rotate to fight iDream up top here. iDream is going to spot him out, just going to slice his way out of there. And we do have NK Inc. going through the Baron Pit now. They don't want to fight just yet. Zaineking, though, is going to abuse that Oracles and clear out all the wards towards the red side. Pings coming out from Cognitive and Velocity on this red side, as Zaineking will get spotted out by this one ward that Evaniskus played. And Cris going to pop the hunt. Who is he going to go for, though, is the real question. It looks like he's just spotting out the whole team of Cognitive. Zamphira going to use the path to get over the wall. Dissonance and ball dropped onto NK Inc. Can they catch anybody else out? Flash Tipper's not available just yet. Ziploc goes over the wall. iDream go over the wall. And Evaniskus leading the charge, not afraid of anything, as Ziploc and Zaineking now with iDream. Gonna throw out the lantern, spot everybody else out, drop a ward, and this fight is looking to build up top now.
Well, here's the thing. Velocity don't have the vision clear on the map anymore. Evaniskus' Annie doesn't have an Oracle's Elixir, so now Cognitive are tracking their movements. They know that they're grouping up, and they know they want to force a team fight, so all they're doing is waiting for them to group up and just slowly backing away. They haven't given up any forward map pressure. They haven't let that tower fall or anything. All they've done is prevent Velocity from doing absolutely anything. There's still CS going to the AD carry on their top lane Renekton. There's still a lot of items on their side, so even if Velocity goes for a fight, Cognitive's trying to make them overextend again, because if they overextend, we already know that Cognitive can pick them apart.
Yeah, and we're going to look to see if Cognitive can make that happen, as the turret in the top lane, the tier 2, going to be their target as they hover around. They use the Oracles, use the pink wards, and clear out that red side, denying all vision from Velocity, as it's coming to effect now, and a dive could be imminent from either side, but Ziploc looking with Zamphira's combo to make it much more promising.
Yeah, and they have the initiation from the side of Cognitive. They can take this tower down, and all they really have to do, though, is wait just in a little bit, like a couple more waves. That tower is below half HP, just barely, but it is going to wind up going down just to the pressure of the fact that they have a lot of range characters that can just sit there and poke at it. I mean, it's 3 versus 3 in the range category and 2v2 in the melee, but if Rengar and Jarvan want to jump on them outside of tower range, it's going to be a bad day for Velocity. So Cognitive, they don't necessarily have to dive right now. And all they're doing, once again, is just wasting Velocity's time, forcing them back onto their side of the map, and waiting for a pick like this.
There is the path coming in. Assault and Battery and an NK Inc., but a nice Incinerate as well as Tipper's coming in. Zamphira ults himself to get through everything. iDream now going to lay into the backline. Cris comes in with the ultimate. Cannot get Zamphira. Actually, Ignite is down on top of him, and it will actually pick him up. Cris gets one. Now Cris flashing over the wall. Going to go towards Ziploc. Impactful trying to kite as much as possible. The culling in the backline is going to try to take down Impactful, and it will be the Piercing Light as an Annie with barely an HP, as well as NK Inc. going to get out of there. But that's going to be a 1 for 3, excuse me, in favor of Cognitive as they look to pressure down this inhibitor turret down on this mid lane. And will they be able to get it, though, is the question. Can an Annie and Jarvan hold it off?
That was the second time I've seen a Lucian turn himself into a backline assassin. We saw Robert X. Lee do that in the game. I want to say it was against GGLA earlier on last week, where he just came around the backside of the fight and just annihilated people with the culling and a couple piercing light passive shots. And once again, nothing, they're showing how powerful of a pickup Lucian is. There's a reason right now that he has about a 70% win rate in the NACL, and it's demonstrated very beautifully right there. A nice turnaround from Velocity just wasn't enough because they have farm disadvantages in the wrong spots. It's the right spots for the side of Cognitive. There's about a 3,000 gold lead for iDream over Cris, and in the mid lane matchup, there's a 2,000 gold lead for Zamphira over Fragnatic. So all they did was they waited for iDream to join up in the fight right there, even though it looked like they were getting turned around upon. As soon as Renekton joined the fight, they had another tanky character to go with Captain Ziploc, and even though Ziploc got down low, there was no way they could burst out iDream because they had used all their CC already.
Yeah, I feel like the culling is like one of those late-night infomercials. It's like, it pushes, it kills, it does damage to champions. What else do you want? Just for $9.99, you can just pick up this beautiful ultimate and champion in a nice little bundle. But now, Baron's going to be pressured out here. Pink ward's coming in. Oracles for Zaineking refreshed. He's got the Mobies. He's going to walk in. They're going to clear some wards out from the side of Velocity's red jungle. And is Baron the right play here, or should they just keep on pushing out the side lanes? As we do have Velocity being very sneaky right now. They're going to stay in that 5-man group. And Cris is going to pop the ult, and he's got the ball. The submarine is coming. Can Nothing Here get away, though, is the question. He's going to get bullied. He's going to be rooted because of the extra rage. He's going to get bullied again. He's going to flash out with the culling activated. He's going to kite a little bit, piercing light in the passive with the double buffs, just shredding through NK. He goes in and Ziploc with the Vault Breaker picks up the kill, as now Velocity going to be on the back end and try to run away as Dissonance comes out, Flame Choppers for a little bit of zone and sight. And Velocity will get out, but now their mid is exposed, and Baron is being pinged down by Cognitive, as if they show bottom, that's going to be a free Baron for Cognitive.
Well, Cognitive already took out the smite from the side of Velocity, and it was a little unfortunate. Cris lost the ball as he jumped down onto Nothing Here, so there was no command shockwave coming out from Orianna, and even though Jarvan and Rengar tried to pick up that kill, Jarvan, he got a couple kills early in the game, but there's no way he could deal with a double buff Lucian who has that much farm right now. He has a Last Whisper Bloodthirster static Shiv. It was just kiting for days in that situation, and poor NK Inc., he had flashbacks to 1v1s in the bottom lane in the earlier stages of this game where he couldn't handle Lucian then, and in the late game with a character that scales like an AD carrier, a marksman if you want to call them that nowadays, just no comparison with the damage output.
And there's the culling, just harassing NK a little bit. Looked like he healed him a tad there, but now we're going to see as Vault Breaker, is he going to go through the wall? Is he going to initiate anything? Looks like a no, but the top inhibitor turret as well as the inhibitor looking to be the Baron up Cognitive's goal. Dragon's live, they don't care, and we're going to see if Velocity can defend this one.
Well, they're pretty much hanging on by a thread right here. That mid lane inhibitor is down, so the super minions are going to be pushing in. So Cognitive don't even have to dive in a situation like this to the Baron buff. They just have to wait for one member of Velocity to go and clear out the threat of their Nexus towers being attacked, and that's just going to be an outer tower for the side of Cognitive. So we'll see if patience is a virtue for Cognitive, or Velocity, if they get another Flash Tibbers, if they get an anti-stun or a catch, they had the potential to take out a prime target and then potentially win a fight. But right now, the only prime target that can get burst really is Nothing Here. So it's going to be a very difficult task for Velocity.
That says on the Cris, he has the ball, they don't want to fight this one. Actually, they do. The Glacial Tomb and the Assault and Battery on the Cris. He's just going to ult out, though. There's a 4-man shockwave. The box gets dropped to disengage, and Cris comes back in with the hunt and picks up one. The culling onto Evaniskus, chunking him out a little bit. iDream's on a killing spree. He picks up one. That's going to be a 1 for 2. And a dead inhibitor turret as the Cork actually connects to Nothing Here, chunks him out for a little bit. But the inhibitor is going to fall. Velocity cannot defend this one right now. The Death Rocket, actually, everybody strafes away from that one. Dissonance to come out, slow him down. Cork connects again. Dissonance on a Fragnatic. Are they going to collapse? No. They will just back right on out. Flame Choppers would have been dropped. And now another inhibitor going down at 32 minutes here. And Cognitive Baroned up looking strong. Gonna go back to base and spend their gold.
Well, Velocity were so used to the fact that Zamphira has been using Frozen 2 defensively to turn things around that as soon as it went down on one of their own units, it went down on NK Inc., Cris and everybody were just like, we could just go in here, we can wind up picking up a kill. There was a really good command shockwave. The problem is, there was just too much damage. So even though Zamphira, he wound up using his burst and eliminated the tank with that Deathfire Grass, they just kind of forgot, like, hey, he still hurts in AoE. We still have Lucian in the backlines dealing a lot of damage, and iDream was just able to pretty much tank up anything that Impactful and Evaniskus were able to deal from the backlines. And Cognitive, like I said, all they had to do was wait for Velocity, and Velocity just played right into it right there because they had their backs against the wall.
Yeah, and now Dragon, that measly 190 gold for everybody is going to go over to Cognitive. We're going to see the inhibitor respawning in the next few seconds here. GA picked up on Nothing Here. He's got Last Whisper, he's got Shiv, he's got BT. His build is bold. His build is looking good, and Zaineking, his build is bold. Yes, he's a very bold Lucian coming out with those items. And now Wolves getting cleared out. Inhibitors open in the mid lane. Cognitive could just rotate towards that one and try to rotate towards bot afterwards, or just try to close out the game with the super minions that are building up top. We'll see, and we'll see if Velocity actually can mount a hold/comeback if they pull off a good team fight.
Well, Baron buff is still has a little bit of time left on some of these characters, such as Thresh. We have it on iDream from Renekton, and of course Lucian still has it available, but you have to be very, very careful with your Velocity. There's no tower here.
There's a Death Sentence coming in. The culling just going to do a little bit of damage. But a nice 3-man Tibbers coming in from Evaniskus, but the Shockwave as well. 3 members with that one. Orianna getting a double kill. Impactful going to be in the back lines. Actually, he's still alive. Fragnatic's going to be iDream's target. He goes down. Double kill for Lucian in the back line with that. And now Impactful falls. Cris is going to be their next target. Nothing Here. Piercing Light. The passive to just crit away at that one. Nothing Here picks up a triple kill. That is going to be unstoppable, and that is going to be game. Unless Cris can somehow defend this. iDream is pretty low. Ziploc is pretty low, but it's going to look like game.
Yeah, Nothing Here still has a Guardian Angel available, and even though that was a really good fight for Velocity, they're just too far behind in items. There's a Baron buff up, and too much experience on the side of Cognitive. So Cris, he's gonna wind up maybe falling with his Nexus right here. Oh, he shuts down Renekton from iDream right there, but it's a good game right there. As Velocity just couldn't mount the comeback that they did last time against Cognitive, and Cognitive pick up a much-needed win in the Elder Lizard Conference.
Yeah, that was a very impressive game from Cognitive. They had a nice 16,000 gold lead at the end of that one, and that's going to be it for Game 1. We'll be back with Game 2, get the lobby set up and get everybody in order. But with that, we will be right back, and we'll see you after